We'll get that nice and close to you there.
So I got a pretty strong voice. So.
Yeah, now you have an even stronger one. Is that working okay?
Yeah.
Well, Laura, let's take a couple minutes and get familiar with, what it is, first of all, that God has led you and others to be engaged in there in
Hawaii?
Specifically?
Hawaii.
Okay.
Oahu.
Yeah, Oahu. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about the ministry, and then we're going to take a step back to see how that all came about. So what's going on in Hawaii that you're a part of? How long have you been a part of it, and what's going on?
I started with the group Hale Hohomana, which means House of Worship, ministry in 2007. The Lord opened the door for me through an encounter at Waikiki Beach Chaplaincy on the beach. Met her and we hooked up, and I've been going ever since. The Lord just continues to open the doors. Also, the ministry, basically, we outreach to the homeless community all over the island of Oahu. We also minister to convalescent homes, hospitals, assisted living facilities as well. We also, our height of the ministry is going to the Women's Correctional Center, which is really the biggest encounter of our whole trip. Because we can't take pictures, we can't video, we can't do anything, and God just moves in dramatic ways there that just are incomprehensible to our thought. But the ministry, we collect toiletries through the year. We have designated areas that we ship them to. We also have So What meetings, which everyone crochets lap blankets, quilts. We make comfort dolls. We use those for the homeless children and for the nursing homes. We also do crochet footies, little booties, and hats for the men. There are a lot of men. And we do this through the year, and we all meet in the month of September for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. And we just go from place to place to place. We do 2 or 3 events each day, no time off. We've been planning a time off, but God keeps pulling others into our schedule, so we just end up ministering everywhere we go. We've gotten to a point now where we keep things in our vehicle. So if we encounter a homeless person on the side of the road or something, we make it a point to give them a toiletry bag, and if they need a hat or socks or whatever it is we have available, we give that to them.
Yes.
We don't give money.
Mm-hmm. And we understand the wisdom of that decision. And let me ask you something. So you've got convalescent homes, you have the homeless, and you have women's detention. And again, like you said, it's basically 2-3 times even a day, every day during the time that you're here, you're engaging with one group like this. What does a ministry encounter basically look like? Give us a Reader's Digest version. What is it that happens? What causes people to recognize? Is it someone, do you have a person who's a front runner, as it were, and organizes and gets it?
Yes. Okay. I have my ministry team leader is Cheryl C. Wright. She is the head of Hawaiian Praise Worship Hula Ministry at Abundant Life Christian Fellowship in Mountain View, California. And her group started with just a couple of women, and our group has now grown to over 35 women across the United States. We come together and we do our ministry at that point. We practice hula. Worship hula is our hook for the outreach, because hula is such a big thing there. There's a good hula and there's a bad hula, and we don't do the bad hula. Yes. We do the God-fearing hula. Awesome. That's the kind where you don't hoochie-coochie on the stage.
Gotcha. Well stated. So Laura, real quickly on this one too, just for a second. And I'm going to just play with words with her for just a minute. I would say that I wouldn't think of that so much as hook, but as bait.
Exactly.
Because, you can throw a hook out all day and fish aren't going to come to it, but if there's bait, they might come and look a little closer. And your hula, being outdoors, showing something, of movement and an interest of people, something that they're consciously clear of there, but in a way that they're unaccustomed to.
Right.
In a purity. That somehow this is also influential in attracting persons to come around, take an interest, And also the program person. Yeah.
And I did neglect to mention, we do go to underprivileged churches as well. There are pastors that work with us when we're out there. So they would invite us to come and worship with their church as well. And the encountering is just phenomenal, because you're talking going to one little itty bitty church about this size or smaller. It's not itty bitty, I'm sorry. But
I'm here too.
You have like 8 pastors from different denominations all coming together with churches, with people from their churches all coming in here, and they're worshiping together.
Yeah.
And loving each other and sharing their gifts. And it's like, Lord, what's going on with the States? Why can't we be having this here?
Yeah. So your ministry then is a combination of things. It is the worship, hula, which is who's simply just a means of how that worship is being expressed. But then it's also charity and benevolence. And is there a sister or sisters? Is testimony shared? Something of the Word of God? How is that done?
Most definitely, we share testimonies everywhere we go. We just go by the move of the Spirit. Sometimes our leader will feel that because of where we're going, a certain person's testimony might be a key to drawing someone to being saved and knowing the salvation of the Lord. I do get to share my testimony a lot. But the past couple of years, I've been kind of stepping back, because we have a lot of new women that have joined our group, and they need to learn to share their testimonies as well without fear.
Sure. So there's a power in testimony, is there not?
Exactly.
And I know, Lord, we could spend the whole day just interacting with you on the point of testimony, but let me we're going to roll the reel back for just a second.
Okay.
You got involved in this, how long ago was it? The year, roughly?
It's been 10 years.
So your history prior to that had something to do with why you're pursuing this. Can you just real briefly, because you have to be brief this morning, and unless another time we'll pursue that and get more information, but can you give us a real Reader's Digest of what happened historically in your life experiences caused you to go? You've mentioned to me, and we haven't talked about this yet, that there in Hawaii, there's so much sex trafficking, there's so much prostitution, there's so much, it's just and you don't think of that right away in your mind when you think, it is this wonderful vacation place, and it's anything but wonderful on many points pertaining to the culture that's there and so much. But Laura, what?
I'm sorry, I'm going to get emotional about this, because I just found out through the Hawaii newspaper that there is a bill going into the Hawaii government where they're going to legalize prostitution. And they are also legalizing the police officers to have sex with prostitutes while they're on duty.
My goodness. Yeah.
And the government is wanting to put it down. They want to reject it. They don't want to acknowledge the problem that they have there. And it's just been really gnawing at me lately. So I don't know what to do. Except to pray for their government, because their government is so screwed up right now.
In just a moment, we'll close and
I'm
pray
sorry,
specifically for that. No apology necessary, none less. That's important to hear, and we'll lift up a prayer special for that in our close. But just Reader's Digest version, something about your history that you can say just in a couple of minutes.
I'll try and make this really quick. Back in 1977, I had just given up my son for adoption through a private adoption. His father was a drug addict, and I had been living with him for a while, but finally I got away from him, and I put my son up for adoption with a pastor and his wife. It was all totally the Lord that this all happened. After that, I pretty much kind of sulked, because I was told how worthless and how useless I was, because I stayed with his father, even though I wasn't doing the drugs. I stayed with him because I was in California. I didn't know anybody. No one knew me. I couldn't get a job, couldn't do anything. So I ended up getting out of all that, and I ended up in Palm Springs, California, staying with my dad, who was a hardcore alcoholic. And I ended up meeting this young guy. He was from Australia, and his father owned a nightclub in Waikiki. So he wanted me to come dance in competition, disco dancing with him, and I chose to do that. he told me if I got a one-way ticket there that they would pay for my way back home, and that of course did not happen. It lasted like 3 days when I got there, and then I was out on the street. A cab driver stole all my clothes. I started staying with people and doing drugs and just existing from day to day, whatever way I could. And it just got, where God brings you to that bottom. It's like either you walk into the ocean and do your life away, or you call for help. So I didn't call for help. I literally bawled my eyes, screaming for help, because I did not want to walk in that ocean as much as it was calling me. And I knew it was the enemy, I knew it was the enemy calling me. And I'm like, Lord, please, please, if you're there, please help me get out of this mess. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm walking down the beach, and it happened to be Sunday. And it's church service on the beach. And lo and behold, the church service, the Waikiki Beach Chaplaincy, was just closing their Sunday service. And I'm standing underneath that palm tree, and one of the gentlemen, who happened to be a Christian psychologist, came up to me and put his hand on my shoulder. Is there anything I can do to help you? And I just fell apart. I just literally fell apart. And that was when I asked Jesus into my life for real, because I'd faked it in the past with Calvary Chapel, Chuck Smith. I've been through all the Jesus movement stuff. Yep. I went through Teen Challenge, and I got the blessing of getting to know a lot of those old Maranatha people, like Annie Herring from Second Chapter Acts, Pat Boone, Barry McGuire, just all kinds of really neat people. So it's just really strange how, even though you don't notice, God is there. Even when you don't know He's there, He's there. He's in control of what's going on in your life. And it just dawned on me a couple of years ago, He's had His hand on my life ever since I prayed my first prayer over my dead parakeet when I was 4 years old.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Lord, let me ask you this.
But anyway, the chaplaincy helped me get on my feet. I went through Teen Challenge, got roots established and grounded, and just met some really awesome people. Nicky Cruz, I got to meet him. A few other celebrities that are now passed and gone to be with the Lord. But it's just like, what a privilege we have.
Yeah. Amen.
But that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Laura's story is involved, and as most persons' stories are. And to get more information, I want to highly encourage you to do that. You can go to Calvary Chapel's website and look under missions. It's cctampa.org, cctampa.org, and then look over to missions. Different ones who we've been interviewing here this last month and so forth, and a couple that are yet to come. Their stories are told there. But also in a table out there, right by the entrance booth, there's a little mission board out there that Laura has, including one of the dolls that she was talking about that they have made. They're comfort dolls. Yeah. And so they're out there on that table as well. But Laura's an illustration, as we need so many of the fact that a life can be headed just nowhere, be overcome by drugs and alcohol and sex and these things, and there's no hope whatsoever. And God be so powerful to rescue and to save and to make a wonderful witness, and who's now passionate for the Lord Jesus Christ. So it's just a work of the Lord, and a wonderful thing that is, a story to remind us God can use us. He can use us in our lives. How exciting it must be, every year to be thinking, I'm going to Hawaii to minister in all these situations. But also to be carrying a burden around your heart, to know that there is need that's so tremendous. And we all need connections like that. So I'm hoping that not only will it cause us to get to know one another better at Calvary Chapel and our different ministries by doing what we're doing, but to let our own hearts speak to us about what we can do for Christ's sake in the gospel. Remember the words, only one life, it'll soon be past. And only what's done for Christ will last. So may each of us follow the lead, that is set by these who we've been interviewing, Laura and so forth, respecting, giving our lives for Christ's sake in the gospel for the sake of others. Let's remember now Hawaii. where God has called Laura and her team. And let's cry out to God about this really sad issue. You know, my roots via my dad are through Sweden. Sweden has done precisely the same thing Hawaii is looking to do.
Yeah.
Prostitution's all legal there. A country that used to beam with Jesus Christ in so many ways years and years ago has become so reprobate now. And would to God that there would be a move of the Spirit in Hawaii that was great and mighty. So let's call out to God and thank the Lord for him raising up this ministry. Shall we do that?